hours. We're discussing, the 75-year-old man, Martin Gugino. We just had his friend on the show saying there's no evidence to support the fact, and there's no truth to the fact that this guy was a member of Antifa or that this guy was scanning with his phone. He was a peaceful protester. And the president of the United States retweeted, a theory, or I should say tweeted a theory that a Russian guy who writes for Sputnik wrote, right-wing Sputnik, and then OAN doubling down on a story claiming that he's a member of Antifa and that he was scanning something with his phone. Your thoughts on that? Republican senators, lack of reaction to it, lack of a backbone, cowardly, whatever you want to call it, dodging the question. And we're taking your phone calls at 702-257-5396. Does that bother you when the president of the United States peddles conspiracy theories to his 80 million followers on Twitter? It should. Maybe it doesn't. Tell me why. Yes or no? Let's go to Nathan. Nathan, you're first up on the Vegas take. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Nathan?
Thank you for taking my call. I am a Trump supporter. I'm an independent voter. I'm registered independent. I do support the President of the United States. I think he screwed up on this one. I think that the way the police handled this situation, and I'm not making a parallel between what happened to George Floyd and this man, the only similarity is that it's abuse of power. The police have a responsibility to view a situation and make a decision based on what they see in front of them. And there was no reason to shove that man. There could have been 100 different ways that they could have handled the situation.
Agree.
He was whether he was a member of Antifa or not, he didn't pose a threat where he needed to be knocked down to the ground,
Sure.
even if the police officer didn't mean to do that on purpose.
Nathan, can I interject? By the way, I agree with everything you just said, but Nathan, this is to me anyway, and you could tell me if you agree or not, Nathan. To me, this is what makes it even worse. While I agree with everything you said, what makes it worse is the president of the United States doubles down and attacks this 75-year-old man with a conspiracy theory. You see where I'm going with that, Nathan? It's so bad.
I absolutely do, and it bothers me because I am a supporter of Donald Trump. But for someone who claims fake news a lot, and there is a lot of fake news against him, he shouldn't be the one that is throwing out fake news. He has the office of the presidency. And if he's going to make comments, they should be accurate.
Nathan, as far as I'm concerned, you are the call of the week, my friend. That is such a fantastic point you just made. And thank you so much for calling in, man. Really do appreciate it. What a great point he just made. Donald Trump is the first person to call out fake news and things that are not true. Yet it's okay for him to put out fake news. It is a double standard, and it's wrong.
Again, I don't think that's fake news. We all saw the video. You can approach it however you want to approach it. You can perceive it however you want to perceive it. I think that the questions should be asked considering what I saw and what is being made of this issue.
Where's the evidence to support the fact he's an Antifa member? You have any evidence?
Why would someone want to get pushed down?
Where's the evidence that he wanted to get pushed down?
Bleeding from the head.
Wait, hold on a second.
Why would someone want to have their cell phone on a police scanner on an active police officer?
So
why would they want to do that unless there wasn't a reason for it?
Where's your evidence?
You
have to let me ask you a question.
The question is, why is he doing these things? And then does that lead to Antifa?
You just said,
that's the question.
Okay, well, that's a ridiculous question.
But that's where this is all coming from.
What is your evidence to support?
These are questions based on the video.
I get it.
And you don't like it, that's fine. But I do, and I think a lot of people who watch that video look at it and go, this just doesn't make a lot of sense.
You just said he wanted to be
ask myself,
down.
why does this not make a lot of sense? And so I want to know that answer. And if that leads to Antifa, great. If not, then whatever.
But it's okay to suggest that he might be a member of Antifa. Where is your evidence to suggest the fact that he wanted to be pushed down? That's what you just said. Where is your evidence to support that this man wanted to be pushed to the ground?
It looks like he literally jumped backwards after he was lightly pushed.
So he faked his fall.
No, it looks like he was. Sure. He looks like he jumped backwards.
Right. Well, maybe I agree.
We will see where this goes.
Right, I agree. Listen, maybe the hospital's involved and all the doctors and the nurses are involved in this conspiracy as well. Maybe you're right. Maybe they faked the fact that he had a concussion. Maybe it was fake blood. Maybe it was actor blood. You know what? You're right. I think I might have seen a ketchup packet in his hand, and then he put it up to his ear and his nose. I don't think that was real blood, JD. I completely agree with you.
And actually, we never saw in the video, you never see the blood actually when it starts.
Not true.
You see the blood when it's coming out. You don't see the actual moment
you
that
think
the
it
blood
was
starts.
ketchup packets?
No, I'm just saying
Oh, okay.
you don't see that part.
So maybe it was ketchup packets. Maybe he
I'm
went
not-
to a hot
I'm
dog
not-
stand.
I'm not saying
no,
that.
I'm saying that. Maybe it's possible that 5 minutes
The
before.
view changes
I understand.
when he
If I
gets
could just
pushed back. You don't see when he
I
hits his head.
understand.
You see
I
when the
get what
blood
you're
is
saying.
coming out of his head.
And I'm suggesting.
That's what you see.
I agree. So I think it's fair to ask the question that it's very possible that 5 minutes before he wanted to get assaulted and pushed down, he might have grabbed a few ketchup packets from the hot dog stand. They might have been in his pocket, and then somehow he might have had the ability, like a movie, to be able to have fake blood.
I'm not.
If I could just finish,
Sure.
fake blood come out of his ears, his nose. And I think all the doctors and nurses are involved, and it's a conspiracy. And Donald Trump is absolutely right. It's no question that we could question the fact that it's fake blood, that he's a member of Antifa, possibly. He was scanning police. I agree. I mean,
Again,
it's all a conspiracy.
You're taking that too far. All I said is based on what I saw and the reaction that's happening right now.
He wanted
and
to get pushed.
And the fact that the 57 Buffalo police officers did quit a couple hours after this happened, after the two were charged.
They didn't quit.
They
They're
didn't?
still police officers. They did not quit the force.
57 police
The
officers.
task force, they quit. They did not quit the police force.
Okay, fine.
That's a very
well,
important
there was a reason why 57 police officers.
Well, they're standing by their
felt-
officers. Doesn't mean they're members. They
wouldn't just do that for no reason, considering what's going on right now.
Yeah.
That being said, I believe that it's okay to ask questions based on the video that I saw.
All right, let's go back to the phone call, 702-257-5396. I'm still sticking by my hot dog stand theory.
That's fine.
I think he grabbed some ketchup packets. I'm just wondering where the mustard and the relish was. Let's go to John. John, you're next up on the Vegas take. What's going
Hey,
on?
what's up, John?
Hey guys, I've listened to you for quite a while. I've got to the point where I kind of enjoy the banter back and forth. But on this, and here's the sad part is because I have a 19-year-old boy that's getting ready to go to the Navy. He wants to go at military police to come out to be a police officer. But the way police are being treated now, I don't know why anybody would want to go into that profession because there's no respect for them.
Yeah, exactly. Police officers are being vilified and demonized across the country. I'm sure you saw the O'Meara, the New York police chief or the New York police boss yesterday. He had a great video. He basically said that we're being treated like total crap, which they are. 99.9% or probably 99.5% of police officers, in my opinion, are extremely well-intentioned, good people. But I do agree with you. I think that you're going to see a lot of people who were police officers. You're going to see a lot of enlistments in the military, in all levels of armed forces. You're going to see a lot of police officers transition from, or people wanting to not be police officers, but instead joining the military.
I don't think anybody, Nate, has suggested that, for years, being a police officer is an extremely difficult job. It's a dangerous job. You have to deal with scum 24/7. But with that being said, it still doesn't excuse mistreatment of citizens, in this case, George Floyd or minorities. I understand where you're coming from, and I can understand why your son wouldn't want to become a police officer because, quite frankly, you're certainly not going to become rich anytime soon or early. I understand that, and I also don't agree with people that mistreat police officers. I think police officers should be shown respect. Like I said, I was in a restaurant the other day, and I shook 4 officers' hands that were sitting at a table. They appreciated that. I think we all should do that as citizens. But what you're saying, I agree with, but that should not discount the bad officers out there and mistreatment of minorities. I'm sure you would agree with that.
I agree there. Yes, I do. And there's bad apples in every profession. We know that. But here's my thing. I've watched for the last, 14 days with the riots and the protests, and I don't know how any of the police officers I couldn't do it, stand there with people yelling and screaming
at you, calling you every name in the book because of the actions of one person. Exactly.
All right, so let me just be Nate, I appreciate the call, and I hope your son does become a police officer. But let me be very clear on this. When you say protesters and rioters, the majority of those protesting are not swearing at the police. The majority of those protesting are not rioting and causing havoc. The majority of those protesting are doing it peacefully. In fact, some of the things you won't hear from the right, some of these protesters are actually protecting the police officers.
Some are, you're right.
Some are shaking their hands. In fact, there was a scene in New York where one of the officers broke away from his crew. He was by himself, and I saw 20 protesters that were protecting the officer.
15, but yeah.
15, 20 officers that were protecting this guy, making sure that nobody hurt him. I've seen African Americans protesting that have hugged the police. I've also seen police officers show solidarity, that have taken a knee, that have actually protested with the protesters. So it's important to get both sides of
But
it.
I would say there's a lot more I would say it's probably 60-40 those who are really pro-police and 40% who are very, very anti-police of the protesters. But there's a lot more good police officers than there are pro-police protesters right now.
Well, I mean, that's impossible to get that type of stat. All I can tell you is that the majority of those that are protesting are decent people, and they're not causing havoc. 702-257-5396. Nate, you're next on the Vegas Take.
What's up, Nate?
Yeah, I'm a Trump supporter. You guys know that. And, he's got so many guys coming at him from all directions, every day, the media and everybody. And he kind of messed up on this one. I mean, it's a little crazy. But, I mean, he said that he was being bugged in his office up at the Trump Tower, and everybody said he was crazy then. And it comes out that, everything's turned out to be true. So, I got just one question. If I don't support Black Lives Matter, does that make me a racist?
No. Here's my opinion on that. I think most people that don't support Black Lives Matter don't understand what their true cause is. I think you just don't understand. So let me ask you this then, sir. Let's go with this for a second, because can I assume you're one of those people that does not support Black Lives Matter? Can I make that assumption?
That's correct. I do not.
Okay, so let's have a conversation. Do you know why Black Lives Matter, why they're protesting right now?
Well, they say that they're protesting, to bring up, to stop the police brutality that's been going on for, they say, 500 years.
So let's go with that. Okay, so let's go with that for what they say. Let's go with that for a second. Do you believe that minorities in this country as a whole are treated the exact same as people that look like you and me?
No.
Okay, so there you go. You just answered my question. The majority, not all of them, but the majority of the Black Lives Matter and the Black Lives Matter movement just want that to stop. All they want is to be treated as equals.
But the problem is
But there's too many of them that they want to go farther. There's too many of them.
That's very true.
When you say,
there are some radical factions.
So let's go with that.
And they're showing their faces.
Okay, so sir,
making demands,
so let's all three of us here try to have an agreement here. Why can't you, instead of saying you don't support Black Lives Matter, why can't you say, I don't support those in Black Lives Matter that are causing havoc, the ones that are rioting?
All right. But as long as there's people in there causing havoc, I can't support them.
All right, so what would you say if I said some of the Trump supporters are white supremacists? Would I call all Trump supporters racist? That's what you're doing. There are some people that's...
No, I wouldn't say that. I'd say, the major portion of Trump supporters are evangelicals.
I would say the major portion of Black Lives Matter people are decent people that are not rioting. Do you understand where I'm going with that, sir?
But I understand, but I'm telling you.
So why would you say? I understand what you're saying, but instead of saying you don't support Black Lives Matter, why not say I don't support those in Black Lives Matter that are racist, that are causing riots?
Okay, I'll say that. I'll go ahead and say that.
I mean, Brian, at this point, because the name is Black Lives Matter, right, if you say you don't support Black Lives Matter, people are going to think that you don't support the lives of those who are black, and that is not the case at all. The name is very confusing for what they're actually doing.
Okay, well,
because there is death that is taking place all over the country, black on black death all over the country, that is not being discussed or addressed by Black Lives Matter. And then when you have someone like George Floyd who gets 3 funerals, Brian, he's had 3 funerals. They've raised $14 million for him. He's been to jail 9 times. Mm-hmm. He stuck a gun to a pregnant woman's stomach in 2007 while our house was. This guy's not a hero. By all accounts, he wasn't a very good human being, Brian.
That has absolutely nothing to do with what I just had with that caller.
It does.
No, it doesn't.
It does. George Floyd. Why would you give George Floyd 3 funerals when he was a horrible human being? Why would you do that? Doesn't make any sense.
So let me respond.
So the country looks at that and they go, "This guy got 3 funerals."
Let me respond to that.
But say my family member died of COVID-19, and I couldn't even go to my family member's funeral.
Okay, so let me respond to the 8 things you just said. First of all, number 1, the people in Black Lives Matter had absolutely nothing to do with how many funerals George Floyd had. So I have absolutely no idea why you're bringing that up. That's number 1. Number 2, George Floyd's criminal record has absolutely nothing to do with the Black Lives Matter movement. Again, I have absolutely no idea why you're bringing that up. This man and I just had an agreement. In fact, I agree with this gentleman who just called in, and I got him to understand where I'm coming from. We both agree. I don't want to see violent protesters out there. I don't want to see people burning down buildings. I don't want to see people swearing at police. Those people are idiots. They're criminals, okay? But I got him to admit something that is very, very important. It's very, very important. The majority of those in the Black Lives Matter movement, if you want to disagree about the name, fine. Take it up with them. But the bottom line is the majority of the people in the Black Lives Matter movement, they just want to be treated as equals. And that gentleman just answered my question honestly, and I appreciate him for doing that. I said, do you think that minorities as a whole in this country are treated exactly the same as people who are white? And he gave me an honest answer, and he said no. And it was a respectful conversation. And you know what? People's minds can be changed.
But no one is factoring in the fact that you make your own personal decisions. You put yourself in specific situations. I know a lot of people out there that are considered – where do you think the word white trash comes from, Brian? Where do you think the word trailer park trash comes from?
I can tell you where it comes from.
Where?
It comes from the image I saw yesterday of some white people that were making fun of George Floyd's death with Donald Trump signs in the background. That's white trash. That's where it comes from.
No, it comes from people who live in impoverished areas where there is a lot of Caucasians.
What does that have to do with the Black Lives Matter movement?
You're talking about white privilege, Brian.
I never brought it up.
Being treated differently. I guarantee you that the majority of people who are considered white trash are treated just as poorly, assuming it's taking place by the police under specific circumstances than African Americans are.
All right,
nationwide.
I don't know why you
the privilege that in the United States. It comes with money, and it comes with the decisions that you make.
All right.
Because anyone who wants to be successful in the country can be. You are set up for success in the United States.
Okay.
Now, do I think there should be some reform in police offices? Absolutely. I think that they should have, and I discussed it with Doug Basham, I think there should be some changes. But that being said, this whole idea that minorities, or African Americans in particular, are treated significantly worse than every single white person in the United States is total BS.
Okay, so once again, you're saying something that I didn't say. I didn't say that every single white person or every single black person is treated. I said as a whole, I think a lot of people would agree that minorities are not treated the same as people that look like you and me. I didn't say every single person in society, so I don't know why you'd make that extreme.
And I would
a
look
full
at
board
the
of
poverty
calls,
numbers.
so let's get back to the phone lines at 702-257-5396. Mike, you're next on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Mike?
Hey, man, check it out, man. First-time listener, man. I kind of like you guys' show. I'm going to put you guys in my favorite list. And I just want to make a comment.
Yes.
I'm 54 years old. I'm Mexican-American, second generation, and joined the military, worked in prisons. And, you know, just the bashing that goes on in this country is just crazy, right? We all got to get along. Yes, President Trump is different. He's not like the politicians we dealt with, or
Very
should
true.
I say I dealt with for 54 years, where they said one thing and they always did the opposite.
But I have to stop you there. That's one way to describe it, I guess, Mike. Different. I would describe it as disgraceful. I'd use another word that starts with D. When you retweet or you tweet out a conspiracy theory, this 75-year-old man is a victim. He's been in the hospital 5 days. 2 officers have been fired and charged. When you put out a conspiracy theory that he's an Antifa member, that's not being different. That's just being an a-hole. Can we agree on that?
But he's consistent, though, wouldn't you say?
Does that justify it because he's a consistent a-hole?
Oh, yeah.
So you're okay with that?
Because
no one should be surprised.
Shooter, but again,
Yeah.
you can't. You're basically what you constantly ask your partner to prove his case. Whereas your case that he's not Antifa. You know him personally?
What we do know is that there is no evidence to support the
How do
fact
you know
that
that?
he is.
How do you know
How
that?
do we
You
know
know the
that?
cops?
Because
You know
there's
the
something. Excuse me, I'll answer it. Because there's something called proof. Okay. Now I could call you a child molester right now and say, you know what, you might be a child molester, but guess what? If I have no evidence to back it up, just because I don't know somebody personally doesn't mean that I can't. I should be able to question whether you're a child molester or not. There's no evidence to support the fact that this man is an Antifa member, and if there was, I guarantee you the right would have the evidence to back it up today. Instead, Republicans. Oh, what do you mean? Wow, there's no evidence to back
the
up.
fact that you're going to that extreme to make a point. But
Yeah, and I made my point, and my point is correct. There is no evidence.
There's process that needs to take place. So those 2 cops that
What do you
got
mean
fired,
process?
I would tell you that they will get their job back.
Okay, well, that's a totally different subject. We're talking about
because
Donald
the
Trump.
fact is you're jumping to conclusions without.
No, we're not jumping to any.
Everybody has an
Wait,
opinion.
hold on a
You're
second.
saying there's no
All right,
proof.
hold on a second. So I'm jumping to conclusions with no facts, but yet you're totally okay with the President of the United States putting out a conspiracy theory to his 80 million followers, and the only explanation you can give to that is, well, he's just different. But Brian Shapiro's the conspiracy theorist because I say that you shouldn't, as the President of the United States with 81 million followers, put out a tweet with absolutely zero evidence to back it up. But I'm the one that's the conspiracy theorist, sir. Give me a break. All right,
I appreciate your. I got to go. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Good call, Mike. Appreciate it.
I got-
I'm glad you're a
Thank-
first-time
yes,
listener.
thank you for listening and programming us in your car.
Yeah, I hope we're still number one on your
I'm
list, sir.
glad we're favorites.
702.
Although Brian cannot handle anyone who doesn't disagree or doesn't agree.
No,
with him.
no, that's absolutely not true. I just happen to be opinionated, and if I have someone on the other line that disagrees with me, I don't sit there and not ask a question. I'll ask a question, and I'll debate anybody. 702-257-5396. Let's go to Jill. Jill, you're next on the Vegas take.
Hey, what's up, Jill?
Oh, hi, Jill. Hi, how are you guys doing today?
Doing
Good.
well.
What's on your mind, Jill?
I just had to call in. I listen to you mostly every morning.
Thank you,
And
Jill.
I'm not sure how I'm going to say this right, but as American people, this whole thing is so blown out of proportion. It is amazing to me that we are this stupid.
Can you be a little
Now-
bit more specific? What is blown out of proportion?
Okay, Mr. Floyd, when I looked at that video, it was horrific. I don't care if he was black, green, pink, Chinese, or whatever. It was a human being. Yes, I looked up my facts. Yes, he has done some bad things, but that didn't make what they did to him right. But we're all forgetting one very important thing. A human being in the heat of a moment will do things that they would never do otherwise.
Are you
That
saying?
cop
Are you talking
was
about the
wrong.
police officer?
Huh?
Okay. Well, the police officer has a record of mistreating
yes,
minorities.
That's fine. He was a bad
Yeah.
cop. I'm agreeing. But
Okay.
but when you put these policemen in a situation like they're in with these riots and stuff, I know what I would do. I'd probably kill everybody with a gun if I had it. You know.
Well, that would
Well,
be.
and that's why I think that police officers have shown unbelievable restraint, considering
Yes,
the fact that
they have.
they've been
And-
attacked with water bottles, and they've been called every name in the book, and they've
But let
watched
me
their
tell you
cities and their
something,
communities
man. I don't like Black
burn.
Lives Matter. It should be human lives matter. American lives matter. But what do you think it is? And I'm a white woman, and I'm 70 years old.
Yes, you are.
What do you think I think of black people, and I've actually seen some whites with them, when I watch them riot and destroy buildings and burn them down?
Okay,
Do
so
you
here's
think
what I'll
that's
respond.
It
Okay, if
reinforces
I
the
could
stereotype.
Okay. Were you asking me or somebody that
No,
agrees
I'm
with
not
you?
asking you anything.
okay.
I'm
Okay.
telling you.
Okay, and here's what I'm telling you.
She asked you a question, but it was rhetorical.
And here's what I'm telling you. The majority of people in Black Lives Matter, I have to repeat myself over and over again because people don't understand this. The majority of those people are not causing havoc. The majority of those people in the Black Lives Matter protest are not burning down buildings, are not swearing up police.
You're right.
Are not. Okay, so
You're absolutely
I have been
right.
I've been very
Listen
consistent.
to what I said. Listen to what I said. Listen to what I
Yes,
said.
I know what you said, so let me respond to that. They're scum of the earth. I don't care what organization you're in, whether you're a white supremacist, Antifa, or in the Black Lives Matter movement. Anybody who would treat police that way, anybody who would tear down a business and loot, you're a scumbag and you're a criminal. But that should not take away from the good people in Black Lives Matter that are doing this for a worthy cause and that are doing this because they want to be treated as equals. That is something we need to remember and we need to understand, and we got to take a break.
But you can't deny that there's an overlap there. The looting and the rioting, every single time it happened, it occurred after or during a Black Lives Matter protest.
And my opinion stays the same. The majority of those people are not doing that, and that's what we need to remember. And that is not what Black Lives Matter, the movement, stands for, rioting and burning down buildings. It's very, very important. Police also have a lot of power, and their job is to protect and to serve.